Welcome to Career Uprising. I'm your host, Lorraine, a career and executive coach dedicated to helping clients who are 40 plus to break free from feeling stuck and transform into the unstoppable force you're destined to become. Let's start the uprising. Hey everyone, welcome to the show. This is Career Uprising, episode 183, The Layoff Journey, Navigating the Stages of Grief with Steve Jaffe. I'm your host, Lorraine, so welcome. Please do subscribe to this show on Apple. Hit the follow button so you don't miss an episode. And I want to remind you too that you can find the archive of the show at careeruprising.com/podcast. So welcome to the show. I am really excited to invite a new guest on today, and we're going to tackle a very timely topic right now, talking about layoffs. I'm sure you guys know they are happening right and left in the job market right now. It's a very, very tough job market. Even just today, I saw a headline that Intel is going to be the latest company to have a big round of layoffs. So this is a timely message and one that I've experienced myself personally as well. But our guest today, Steve, knows firsthand that a layoff is not just the loss of a paycheck. It's the loss of so much more as well. Oftentimes, it's our identity, our stability, security, routine, getting up and having a purpose every day. We lose a lot when we lose our jobs, and it can be a very scary time. I've been there myself. I was laid off, as some of you know, 5 times in 7 years in my 20s. I kind of dubbed myself the layoff queen. It just was something that kept happening to me. And Steve Jaffe knows all about this as well. He's a seasoned executive. He's now the author of The Layoff Journey, From Dismissal to Discovery. It's a powerful guide that will help you navigate all the different stages of emotions and grief that you go through when you lose a job, similar to losing a person. It's really not that different, actually. I'm going to let Steve come on in just a moment and share his background and his journey. He's got quite an interesting one, and I think he can tell his story in the best way, like nobody can. And I think he's had quite a story as well with multiple layoffs, just as I have experienced as well. So welcome to the show, Steve.
It's great to be here.
Yeah, absolutely. Why don't you start out by telling us a little bit about your background? I know you have a marketing background, and I believe you were involved in the legendary slogan, "What happens in Vegas stays in Vegas." I thought that was fascinating. Just tell us a little bit about you, how you got to where you are today.
Sure. Yeah. Thanks. And wow, 5 layoffs in 7 years.
Yeah.
Boy, you've been through it, and I think you could probably identify a lot with the book and the stages of grief as I talk about them. I'll set the stage for you in my journey and how I landed where I am today. It was the spring of 2001, and I was working in San Francisco. Good part of my career was spent in advertising agencies, and I was working in an agency, doing quite well. I was working on a really large client. They were incredibly successful, and everything was going great. In fact, I had just gotten married and felt like I was on top of the world. Unexpectedly called into a conference room one day, and in very short order was told, "Thank you, but your services are no longer needed." And that hit me like a ton of bricks. I was in shock, and it took me a long time to recover from that experience. Fast forward, it's the summer of 2023, and I'm now experiencing my 4th layoff. And what I realize is I breeze right through it. It's as if it's water off a duck's back. And as I'm doing some kind of self-exploration and trying to understand why this experience isn't as traumatic on the 4th time around, I realized that I had learned a set of skills, a set of coping skills. I had learned kind of what to expect, what the signposts are, if you will, on kind of the phases. And I came to identify and understand them as really the stages of grief. So I then found that in that experience, there's about 20% of the company that was laid off. Some people I had grown very close to, some very early in their careers. Some folks, it was like their second layoff in that calendar year. And I wanted to have a conversation with each of them and tell them, look, it's going to be okay. I've been through this. Here's what you can expect. Here's how you navigate those emotions. And here's how you come out the other side, maybe with a new purpose. And I then realized that was a great topic for a book. I had always wanted to write a book. And I thought, well, I could not only help the 20% of people I was laid off with, but I could help so many more people manage their layoff as well. So that's how the kind of the 22 year journey and story arc became a book. And I'm very happy with how I'm hearing that it's helping people. My only goal for this is to help as many people as I can. I had no idea that 2025 was going to be a landmark year in terms of layoffs. Unfortunately, there are more people experiencing them now than ever. And I hope that people are able to find the book and find some comfort and some direction in how to come out the other side.
Oh, they will, undoubtedly. Absolutely. Yes. Your book is so funny. You wrote it about all these past experiences that you had starting a long time ago, but it's really never been more timely than it is today. I mean, this is information people will always need. I hate to say there's always going to be layoffs, right? There's always going to be a need for learning how to go through this because no one teaches you how to do this, right? You figure it out as you go. So take me back to the first one in 2001. I think you said, what were you feeling and how did you begin to process those feelings? So how did you channel that energy into something positive? What did you do next, basically?
Yeah. Gosh, it was as if the stages of grief were written in the exact way that I experienced that layoff. I absolutely went through denial. I was in total shock. I felt quite a bit of anger. I went into the bargaining stage and thought, gosh, what could I possibly do to maybe get this job back? What could I do? That moved into stages of depression, which prior to this experience, I never really had any type of depression. And I then realized that depression and anxiety is something I'm susceptible to, and this was sort of a trigger for that. Eventually, after quite some time, I moved into kind of the other side of the stages of grief, which is where you kind of start to rise and you kind of see the light at the end of the tunnel, and that's acceptance, reconstruction, and renewal. But I think what struck me the most was, in society, in corporate America, there's what I think of as this myth of meritocracy, which is if you're smart enough and you work hard enough, you'll be rewarded with success. And in that experience, in that first layoff, I was very successful. I had launched this campaign for this client, and we were experiencing all sorts of different levels of success, whether it was increased in sales or awards or whatnot. And I had thought, rather than being laid off, I would have been met with some sort of maybe a raise, maybe more responsibility, and instead, and it struck me as just generally kind of feeling very unfair, feeling very out of control of the situation. But the through line was shock, shame, and a deep sense of loss. And what I hope to do with the book is help dispel some of the shame and embarrassment that come from a layoff. By and large, when you're laid off, it's not because of anything that you've done. It's economic conditions that are dictating how the company is going to try and drive revenue to the bottom line. And it's easier to lay people off than it is to increase sales. So one of the things that I think is important to help people frame their layoff is about 40% of all Americans have been laid off at least once in their career. If more people knew how common layoffs are, they might be more willing and open to sharing that experience. And if they share that experience, they're going to find other people that are able to support them, offer comfort and empathy. And I think that's the thing that's really needed as a first step, is to start to dispel that shame and embarrassment that come from the layoff. But I think in general, processing these feelings means you have to slow down and you have to understand and accept and name these emotions, kind of sit with them for a little bit. And I think what's important is to not rush into the next job, to not go right to your resume and your LinkedIn profile and trying to get interviews. Because if you don't manage these emotions, you'll bring them right into that job interview, and it will be problematic. So it's important to take some time, take a minute, and allow yourself to kind of feel these feelings and go through these stages of grief.
100% agree. Managing the emotions, being willing to sit with them, all of those things are so much more important than people realize, because I have worked with a lot of clients who are in transition, and I can tell they're at risk for just carrying everything over to the next job. Because the common thread is you, right? At both of these jobs. So if you don't take the opportunity in that quote downtime to work on you and identify, okay, how do I want to show up at this next job? Could I have done anything differently? Do I need to go into a different field? Asking all of those questions it's almost, I feel like a layoff is life giving you the opportunity to examine that and ask those questions and because a lot of people say, and this was true for me, after a layoff, sometimes they end up in a better place. It ends up being like the best thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
100% right. And I'm someone who would never say a layoff is a blessing in disguise. Layoffs absolutely suck. And I don't wish them on anybody. But like you said, it is an opportunity. It's an opportunity to examine your career path. What did you like about what you were doing? What didn't you like? Is your industry undergoing contraction? Should you pivot to another industry? Is there a love or a passion that might bring you more fulfillment than what you're currently doing? And you may come out of this and you may say, no, you know what? I love what I'm doing and I want to continue on this path, and great. But taking that time to just sit and examine that, it's kind of a blessing, because we don't normally have that opportunity. When you're working hard and you're working long hours, you don't have time to be real introspective and kind of take a holistic picture of where
is he doing your job?
Yeah, exactly. So this is an opportunity to press pause and kind of examine if the life you're living matches your goals and your intent.
So what would be maybe one or two actionable strategies that you outline in your book that you want to highlight, for all the people out there who are listening? And I'm willing to bet there's somebody out there who's going to hear this at some point who's going through this or has gone through it recently. So to that person who has just been laid off, what are some actionable strategies that you talk about in your book that maybe would be a good starting point for them?
Yeah. A couple. I think the first and most important is just give yourself permission to grieve. Acknowledge that the layoff isn't just a professional setback, but it's an emotional loss that you really need to feel. It's not dissimilar to maybe a divorce, the death of a loved one. something very important and meaningful has been taken from you. And you need to take time to feel that and experience that. And you need to allow yourself and give yourself that permission. But one of the things that's important is when you lose your job, you lose that routine, you lose the 9 to 5, you go to work, you have something that fills your day. And it's important to create a new routine to replace that work routine that you lost. So in that new routine, you find kind of small daily acts of progress that you can feel a different kind of forward momentum. So one of the things that I talk about in the book is sort of taking a whole body approach to how you're going to navigate the grief, and that's kind of a mind, body, spirit approach. And there are things that I do that are kind of non-negotiables every day that I feel position me for success to help navigate any challenges that life throws at me. So, get plenty of sleep, eat a healthy, nutritious diet, get some exercise, get out and move, right? Exercise is going to release a lot of natural endorphins, serotonin, dopamine. Those natural chemicals that your body releases are great, particularly when you experience depression as a stage of grief. Those will counteract and counterbalance that depression that you may feel. Limit your alcohol intake. Alcohol is a depressant. And again, in that depression stage, you don't want to add fuel to that fire. So take some deep you're interested in practicing some mindful meditation, that's great. Maybe you just want to pray. Maybe you just want to spend some time alone and quiet and with your own thoughts. All of those things are great, like baseline skills that will help you navigate these challenges. But it's also important to reach out to others that have been through these similar experiences. They're gonna help you feel not alone and create a space for vulnerability without shame. So, one of the things that's taken from you when you lose your job is that community that you work with, people you've become close to, friends, people that you may spend more time with than your family. That's a loss. And replacing that community with others, whether it's friends, family, maybe some of those now former colleagues, mentors, that's going to be really important for you to not be alone and to not navigate this by yourself. But I would end on understanding that this layoff is only a chapter. It's not the whole story. And that this will allow you to rediscover your purpose on your own terms. So, the layoff is something outside of your control. How you react to it and how you come out the other side is entirely in your control.
Agreed. Well stated. Absolutely. And it sounds like self-care is a really big piece of this, right? And it always is, but sometimes this is an opportunity for us to slow down and catch up because of that self-care we've ignored while we were busy in our jobs. And that's just one more way I think that sometimes these opportunities are the universe kind of alerting you to things that you may have neglected past that now need your attention, definitely. So what did you learn about yourself through these experiences, Steve?
Well, gosh, at the end of the journey, after the 22 years, I learned that I've been through hard things and I have the ability to get through hard things. That hard things are now kind of baked into my DNA. And along with that, some resilience and some grit. What absolutely destroyed me the first time became maybe an opportunity to reach down and find the strength. And I think I found a sense of understanding that I'm someone who, if I'm knocked down 8 times, I can stand up 9, and I can get back in and stay in the fight. And I didn't let, and I haven't let what's a temporary setback become a kind of a life altering or a life defining, a moment in time didn't become a life defining or career defining moment. I've had success, and these have been setbacks, but they've been temporary.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yes. This is not one thing that defines you. It's one chapter in the story. 100%. Right. Absolutely. Right. Well, my next question really quick is for fun. So is it true that you're the man behind what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas? Tell me the story, Steve. I'm dying to know. I
am not the man that can. Right? Yeah, right. I'm one of many men and women. I didn't write the famous tagline. So in my advertising career, I was a media guy, which means I'm the one buying the airtime on television and radio and internet, all the places that the ads run. So if you saw one of those ads, I was responsible for you seeing it. I wasn't responsible for the creative execution, but I was on the campaign from campaign launch through the first 5 years of its life. And it was an absolute blast. It was so much fun. And just the trajectory that we were on from the moment it launched, it was like a rocket ship.
It's exploded. Now it's what happens at Nana stays at Nana. Right, all these iterations. It's taken a life of its own now. Right. I know.
Yep.
Well, I just had to ask about that. I think that's a really cool claim to fame. Good for you. Thank you. Perfect. So let's wrap up with where can listeners go to learn about you, connect with you, and of course, buy your book.
Absolutely. So please go to Amazon.com and just type in the Layoff Journey. The book is available on paperback for $11.99, and right now, if you're a Kindle Unlimited subscriber, it's free. So I invite anybody to do that. Yeah,
I do. But I got my hard copy. I'm glad I got my physical copy.
Good.
Yes,
good. And if you want to learn more, you can go to thestevejaffe.com. You can learn more about me there, and then you can also find me on LinkedIn and on Substack. You can find me on Instagram. So I'm kind of all the places.
Okay, wonderful. Well, thank you so much for coming today and sharing your story. I really appreciate it. And I think that the points that you've made are amazing. And sometimes, honestly, just sharing your story and having people hear and relate to it is enough sometimes, right? To know we're not alone. Other people are going through this. You will come out on the other side. Steve did. I did. You will too. It's a kind of a normal thing, unfortunately, but absolutely. So thank you for your time and for being here today. And I would highly recommend everyone go connect with Steve, buy the book, and we will be back with another great episode and another guest in about a week or so. All right. So thanks for listening, everyone. And thanks for being here, Steve.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Take care. Hey, it's Lorraine, and I want to say thanks for listening. If you found value in today's show, I would be honored to have your review on Apple Podcasts. It's the single best way to help this show be found by other listeners, and you'll earn some good karma. Thanks again for tuning in, and I can't wait to connect with you next time on Career Uprising.